Hello, weirdos! Welcome to the first official episode of Limited TV Junkie. I'm your host, the weirdo, Koli Murray. Today, I thought we'd talk about the latest episode of SVU, Season 24, Episode 12, Blood Out, and that scene. I've been talking to friends consistently since Friday morning when the rest of the world was awake. I don't have live TV, so as soon as it dropped on Peacock at 5 a.m., I watched it. Because I'm insane, apparently. Yeah. Now, something important to note is that I don't ship EO or Bensler depending on what era of SVU you're coming from. Because before we started combining names to make ship names, it was EO. And then Livid came along and everyone started calling it Bensler, and I don't know. I call it EO just so everyone's aware. I'm talking about Bensler. Depending on what era of SVU you come from, I already said that. My goodness. Anyway, I got myself to the point where I was excited about a possible kiss. I got there. 15-year-old me won out. But there was a massive bait and switch. Some people have been waiting for as long as they've been watching the show for Elliot Stapler and Olivia Benson to get together. For some people, that's 24 years, but for a lot of people, it's been 24 seasons that they've been waiting for Elliot Stapler and Olivia Benson to get together. When I was a teenager, I also wanted them to get together, but as I got older, I started to notice things that made me uncomfortable shipping them anymore, so I stopped. I'm not going to go into detail about what those things are, because I don't need the hate from the EO shippers, so I'm just going to leave it at that. My fanfiction reflects this. I don't really write for EO anymore. In fact, I tend to write Elliot as a little bit of a douche canoe. I primarily write for Langston and Charles Brooks and Olivia. Langston is Trevor Langan and Olivia Benson. Charles Brooks isn't on SVU, so there's no ship name for them. Charles Brooks is actually from the TV show Younger, which is also set in New York. And both of these characters are played by Peter Herman, Mariska Hargitay's real-life husband. And I love him so. There's a conversation here to be had about EO versus Krishka. But that's another conversation for another episode, for another day. I'm not going to get into it today. Yeah. It's a long conversation, and I could and will do an episode on that, but not today. Anyway, back to that scene. The very last scene of the episode, I'm talking the last 2 minutes of the episode. So I'm gonna add a very heavy spoiler alert for season 24, episode 12 of SVU Blood Out. If you haven't seen it and don't want to be spoiled, pause now, go watch the episode, and then come back and listen for the rest of the podcast. In fact, if you haven't seen episode 10, 11, or 12, go watch the trilogy and then come back. Because you can't just watch episode 12 if you haven't watched episode 10 or 11. They're a trilogy, they're meant to be watched in order. Yeah. Okay. Now, the scene starts off with Olivia closing Noah's door after putting him to bed after Elliot brought him back from his half-brother's house. where he'd been staying since Olivia was attacked 2 episodes prior and jumped in, which is why I say you kind of need to watch 10, 11, and 12. When Elliot asks for sugar, Olivia starts looking in cabinets as a way to avoid eye contact with Elliot as he starts asking questions. The first being, "Why didn't you call me?" Olivia refuses to look at him until she finds the sugar. I'm convinced that she knew where the sugar was all along, but she was prolonging it so she didn't have to make eye contact with him. Because generally, if you live in a house and you do the grocery shopping, you know where you put things. So I think she knew where the sugar was. Elliot moves in to kiss Olivia, and she dodges his kiss and tells him that she wants to, but she can't. Elliot asks why, and she asks, "What if it doesn't work out?" And he asks, "Well, what if it does?" And she repeats a few times that she's not ready for this, and then we're Dick Wolfed. We are Dick Wolfed, and I hate that. I will get into my feelings on Dick Wolf in another podcast. I could do a whole podcast on just Dick Wolf. And I will. But I'm not going to get into my feelings on Dick Wolf right now. Because it's a whole conversation. This is definitely different from the promo. In the promo, it appears Olivia goes in for the kiss, cradling Elliot's face. And in the second promo that was released, it was that. And then as the screen went black, you heard a breath being let out. They pulled the classic SVU bait and switch. They've been doing this to us for years. Which angered many viewers because they feel as though they're being led on without any real progress forward, which of course they are. I spoke to 2 different friends, and one felt that it was just the usual thing that the SVU writers room does. Even though she doesn't really ship EO. The other was upset that nothing happened, even though EO was in her primary ship. Both of my friends kind of, I don't know, it's weird because they both had different reactions, but they were both kind of on the same page, if you will. Yeah. Anyway, the articles that are coming out about the response from fans seem to be a little bit all over the place. Publications like Glamour showcase the anger of viewers, and publications like Screen Rant and even NBC seem to show that fans are elated that EO had gotten closer than ever before. I'm not really sure whose profiles they were looking at to say that they were elated, because on my timeline on Twitter, fans of EO were very angry and in no way elated, and they are in fact still very angry and in no way elated. So, I don't know. And in the NBC write-up of the scene, it was a completely different scene than what was shown on our screens. So, yeah. And I even watched the highlight from NBC of that scene, thinking maybe it would be different, thinking maybe it would be the scene that was in the write-up, and it wasn't any different. It was the exact same scene that was in the episode. At the end of the day, grown-up me is very happy that they didn't kiss, because even though I want Olivia happy, I'm not sure Elliot is the right partner for her, at least in terms of romance. Teenage me is devastated because teenage me wanted nothing more than Elliot and Olivia to be together. I went hard for Elliot and Olivia, though something interesting is that I never really hated Kathy. A lot of EO fans don't like Kathy. And a lot of EO fans were happy when she died, causing Isabel Gillies to write a blog, and a lot of fans were not happy about it, and yeah. Anyway, we stand Isabel Gillies and Kathy Stabler in this house, so yes. But tell me how you feel. Let me know in the comments. If you're watching this on YouTube. If not, let me know on Instagram, where you can DM me or leave a comment on the post about the episode at Limited TV Junkie. All one word. That does it for my show today, but fear not, weirdos. I'll be back soon with a new episode. This is your weirdo, signing off for now. Until next time, stay weird.